All right. Welcome back to S&C Coaches React. Sometimes we're weightlifting coaches, sometimes we're S&C coaches. It depends on the video. So today's is the great Anthony Joshua. So obviously a lot of people mentioned about doing MMA fighters or doing different things to react to. Just kind of, I suppose these aren't more reactions as much as kind of commenting on the specific strength conditioning needs from different sports.
Yeah.
We didn't pick a lot of the MMA fighters because honestly they're fucking terrible. And we don't want to just rag on people. So we want to pick videos where we just talk shit about people's training because most often it's not the fighter's fault.
It's almost never the fighter's fault. In general, it's almost never the athlete's fault.
Yeah.
It's nearly always the fucking coach.
It's listening to stupid S&C coaches tell them about like high power endurance training.
The problem is
oxymoron ever.
Yeah.
But Anthony Joshua, we'll get the information in a minute. Calm down, will you? The thing with Anthony Joshua is he's big enough that he's never going to see this and it's not going to offend him.
Yeah.
So that's why we picked Anthony. And he's a big name, so a lot of people will recognize him. And there's a lot, fortunately, there's a lot of his training footage. So we just picked 2 training videos over the last 3 years. They're kind of compilations of what he's doing. And we're going to just kind of hopefully find some good things. But I fear for the future of this video.
Yeah, one point on this, there's going to be we purposely picked videos that don't have a lot of boxing specific stuff in them.
Yeah.
Because that's not our place to kind of comment. But you're going to see a few teams running through this. So don't get annoyed if it might be repetitive at 1 or 2 points.
As well as a lot of people, right, watching this, they might stumble upon this video and they don't know who they are. Or who we are, So we'll have a lot of our regular viewers and they're sound guys. We like them. We're all good friends. We're a big family. But there'll be a lot of new people coming to this video, and you'll be like, "No, I know boxing, and you've got to do power training and high endurance reps." And you're wrong. So will you close on the laptop there, so you can get a better view?
Yeah, I will. Yeah.
Not all the way. Jesus Christ.
Are we good to go?
Slam the space right there with big witchy fingers. So first up, we're watching Anthony Joshua intensive boxing strength conditioning workout from Muscle Maximum Fitness. And here we have him doing trap bar deadlifts. This is good. It's a good start.
Trap bar deadlift with some banded distraction.
Hang on.
So what it is, those trap bars, I'd say we could probably guess are around 28 to 35 kilos, loaded with 75 kilos, 95 kilos each side. No, 85 kilos each side.
Mm-hmm.
And some banded distraction. So it's just some standard strength work. Afterwards, we have some sandbag slams.
So what boxers love, and I've noticed specifically boxers love rotational work, right?
Yeah.
The problem with rotational work is, you training the direct rotational work by doing fast rotational things doesn't really work. So if we take the sandbag slams there, right? So is Anthony producing force through his obliques and relevant muscles, or is the momentum of the sandbag carrying him over?
I would say after the period where he lifts it from the height of his knees up to kind of his midriff, so at the bottom of his rib cage, all the work is done there.
Yeah.
So if we were in a super efficient training environment, Anthony would just do this movement. He'd literally just lift it from his crotch up, so his elbow might come to this, or his wrist might come to the same height as his elbow. And at that point, all of the work has been done. There might be a tiny bit as he slams it down the opposite side, but virtually zero muscle recruitment there.
Yeah.
And that's why a lot of the time when we look to rotational work and developing strength and stability in rotational work, we look to anti-rotation work.
Yeah.
Where we're holding against something. But yeah, that is... Yeah. It's the fallacy of rotational work.
Yeah. I do like the trap bar deadlifts, especially for a boxer. So obviously you need a lot of leg stability. Pushing into the ground, is very, very useful. And trap bar deadlifts are very safe for athletes. You can load them up quite high. You want to be able to apply a lot of force. So I like that trap bar deadlift. I like that's a solid. It's a staple in you see those kind of off-season strength conditioning videos for a good reason. It is a useful exercise. It's very safe, and it ticks the boxes.
Absolutely. The other beauty of that is the banded distraction. So where most athletes will struggle with a deadlift is breaking the barbell off the floor with good form. So in this case, he can increase the tension as the bar comes up. So as he stretches that band out more, you'll see he's standing on a band. As that becomes more stretched and more elongated, there's more force being put into him. Most people are really, really strong from their knees up, so you can have more force going into the athlete. Whereas in the case where you don't want to injure someone, bands are a great tool.
All right, so the next 2 things we've got is backward weighted sled drags.
Love these.
Yeah, great exercise for a boxer, a bit of conditioning, bit of hamstrings, and then some leg raises. So nothing to really, Nothing wrong with leg raises. Most core work works. So any
Yeah.
kind of core work does something. People might, talk shit about lower obliques and upper obliques, and you shouldn't flex your spine and shit. But to be honest, any kind of core work is much better than doing no
Yeah.
core work. We don't see people, you don't see people getting back surgeries and the surgeon going, you know what? Oh, I see this every year.
Too many hanging leg raises.
Too many sit-ups. This is where this back degeneration is coming from. You don't really see that. And if they bother you, just stop doing them. So I
Yeah.
think it's a safe. So next up, right.
It's just some walking.
So I assume the band around his knees is to keep him on a wide stance.
And his feet, yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Boxing specific drills, like we said, we're not going to... Okay.
this.
Right. So, right.
Let's just sort out the monster walk stuff first, right? If he has things where he wants to abduct his hips, right? He wants to be better at pulling his hip out to the side so he can maintain that solid, wide stance. Then you do something like this, but I'd probably do it directly to the side so I wouldn't be kind of staggered half on, half off. And this is where the mixture of boxing specific stuff and gym work or corrective actions should never be mixed. And this is like every critique we're going to have today, if we have more, is going to be in the blurring of this line. So why he didn't just do banded monster walks or weighted clams or side planks.
What I assume this is for is to keep him wide in his boxing stance.
Yeah.
But the problem with... so he's actually... Sorry, I just missed it. There's two
he's
bands
doubled up.
Like, the problem with this kind of thing is like training under fatigue for specific skills is that are unweighted doesn't make sense,
Yeah.
It just makes you more fatigued and it doesn't really transfer over to the skill. Maybe he doesn't do this a lot. Maybe,
Maybe it's a warm up.
Yeah, maybe it is a warm-up. Maybe it's just kind of like a proprioception kind of thing that he does a little bit of, which could be useful. So again,
And
this is where we come with the boxing-specific stuff. But for most sports, I like boxing, you want to keep your boxing and your strength conditioning totally separate.
Yeah. And in the case, like, we're often raggy on things, what you would do in this case is you'd get somebody very, very strong at hip abduction, so pulling their hip away from their body, raising it up off the floor, and then you'd get them to do those stances, and you'd get them to post hoc, or else in real time you'd cue them by saying knees out, wide stance, rather than, so then they understand the feeling of how much muscle tension they have to put in, not them just pushing out as hard as they can against the band and their feet being that width apart.
Right. Okay, so this is weighted punches, right? There's before we get to the specific weighted punches he's doing, there's a couple of reasons why you may, in theory, don't want to do weighted punches, right? So, first of all, because there is what's known as like the dynamic body weight power hypothesis, whatever, in plyometric training, right? So, the lower body limbs produce the most power, and this has been reproduced ad nauseum in, very, very well established sports science circles, in papers, that the lower body produces the most power unweighted. So, there's a good chance, right, that this carries over to the upper body, right? So when you're looking for maximum power output, which is what you are in punching, so you're not looking for a more forceful punch, you're looking for a more powerful punch. So doing things like weighted punches don't make your punches more forceful or more powerful, they're just making them more forceful because you're increasing your strength with that exercise, So the second problem with weighted punches like this, in theory, is that you're teaching yourself bad motor patterns because you're fatiguing yourself and you're doing it under weight, The other problem with this one is what the fuck is he doing with his opposite hand? Like, what is that about?
Yeah. And like, look, the physiology often doesn't matter for fighters. It doesn't matter for talented athletes in general, right? You're not thinking about physiology. We are thinking about physiology because obviously we're interested in this and we have a background in education in this. So don't think for a second that like this is making him a shit boxer. He's a phenomenal boxer. He's going to be a 20 times better boxer than any of us ever will be. He's 6'6" and made of muscle.
Yeah.
So like the fact that he has a load of fast twitch fiber, a lot of fast twitch fiber expression, has nothing to do with his training. It's incredibly well skewed in his genetic profile. But yeah, that limiting factor of like learning slower punching mechanics, just the rate firing of motor units changes if you're really pushing heavy things all the time, versus it's like sprinters versus marathon runners. You wouldn't train a sprinter like a marathon runner. You wouldn't train a marathon runner like a sprinter.
Yeah, like this, the specific skill of punching fast is that speed you want to be punching at. So you want to punch at the speed you want to punch at, not slower, in the hopes that you'll overcome the, you'll make a kind of you'll put yourself in a deficit then to hope to come up beyond that deficit in
Yeah.
terms of speed. You hope your body will super compensate with speed, but that isn't how plyometric training works. And the problem with it is S&C coaches who are, you know, less maybe well educated or less researched or less paying attention to stuff, is that they, because that would work, for example, with training, you know, muscular or force training or strength training, they assume then it works with plyometrics, which unfortunately definitely
No.
doesn't. And it's very, very, very well established that that's not what happens.
Yeah. Being fast is a skill.
Yeah.
These again, sled pushes, grand conditioning tool, very good. There's some internal rotation and a bit of valgus rotation in his knees, which isn't great.
Yeah.
But fuck it, he's not a runner.
Okay, so this is med ball slams are a biggie because everyone loves med ball slams. So med ball slams are great if you're doing your, you know, your over 50s class and you're getting the girls to do stuff. But this is the problem again with mixing your conditioning and your power training, which is a big thing you see with fighting strength conditioning. So power training or plyometric training, you know, needs to be very, very specific. It needs to be low fatigue. So if you want to move fast, you're doing your things fast. But then your conditioning training should be totally separate, so you shouldn't be mixing the movements. So this isn't teaching Anthony to be more powerful. All this is turned into a kind of a weird conditioning drill.
So in this case, Anthony would be better off doing fucking burpees or conditioning work on like an air assault bike. And then for his power work, he'd be better off doing like that slam ball. He'd do 3 of them in a row. He wouldn't do the little jump in between.
Yeah.
He'd put a lot more force into the ball. He'd have a hell of a lot more force in the tank afterwards, and he'd be learning to be a much more powerful athlete. Also jumping down. So if I jump into the air and then do my slam ball, I've got facilitated movement of the force of gravity coming down with the ball, so I'm having to produce less force. So that can be good in a pure speed sense, but in this case where it's power production, that's probably a 6 kilo slam ball. Like you don't need to be doing that. Keep both your feet in the ground.
So next up we have just some, that's from that move Southpaw. Obviously it's not from Southpaw. Southpaw got it from boxing, but that's just another boxing drill.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
We're just not going to comment on that. To be honest, if you're doing skill-specific movements like that, you shouldn't have kinesthetic feedback.
Yeah.
So you'll see the way he touches the tape with his shoulder each time.
Yeah.
Like he's getting kinesthetic. It'll be like squatting and touching a band at the bottom.
Oh,
he's lowering his ability to learn good movement patterns.
Okay, so next up we have weighted rotational work. So to be honest, anti-rotational work is the best way to get a better rotational work. So you're still training the muscles, you know, and it's not a high skill movement, so it will transfer over very well. The problem with this is, and it's not often you'll hear us say this, but that probably is bad for his back. And I know that sounds like
that's bad for your back.
I know it sounds so stupid to say that, but it's such a cliche to hear that said, you know, outside of strength conditioning circles. But that probably is just bad for his back. Like full stop. I don't think he's getting the benefit of rotational.
There's also other things like you see the left knee starting to turn in.
Yeah.
The outside of the left foot is off the floor. You know, there's just things there that aren't optimal.
And look, not ragging on Anti here, but we've no idea how often he does these things. But he's doing them now.
I think there's also a kind of false fallacy that we could be falling into here is that a lot of these are being done with like video cameras around.
Mm-hmm.
And so he probably has, like, he can't do his side planks with the 2.5 kilo plate in his hip because it doesn't look that impressive.
It's so
and he's a fighter at the end of the day, you know. Like they want to look tough.
Yeah.
So that might be it.
Nice shoes,
let's hope. Gorgeous shoes, yeah.
Okay, so next up we've got single leg hops. I'm not mad at these. I'm not mad at them. I know it's a bit weird.
Yeah.
Lateral hopping.
One thing I'm mad at with that, right?
It's a double hop.
The double hop.
Yeah.
And look, that's just a place where he's not skilled enough to be able to do a rebounded jump to the side. So that's like, you just expect an athlete to be a small bit more advanced in their plyometrics.
So as we're nitpicking, this is the whole point of the video, you'd question why using lateral hops.
Well, I suppose sideways movement, dipping and weaving.
Yeah, but he's not jumping 4 foot in the air for that, is he?
No.
Like, I don't know.
Could be some injury stuff.
Maybe. Okay, some more footwork stuff.
You
know, you like, to comment on this, right? You actually can't do this wrong. Any like hand-eye coordination, drill work, not wearing those shoes though.
Yeah, feet dexterity work.
Yeah, this kind of stuff with the ball catching it. There's literally no amount of this you can do wrong.
No,
it's all useful.
Phenomenal way to warm up.
It's great if you're under fatigue because you want to practice these kind of skills under fatigue.
Exactly, yeah.
Like this makes perfect sense. I don't like this. You can't do this wrong and you can't do too much of it probably.
If you have a kid or if you coach underage athletes, do as much of that as you can get them to do without wanting to go home.
Actually,
that, like,
if you're coaching, if you've got kids doing sports, any sport, they're unbelievable.
If you can sneak that in places, like as you're giving them their dinner, just be like, drop the fork. Great.
My uncle used to throw spanners at me. I don't think it was for training though.
And nothing's wrong with me.
I always got them though. So again, weighted punches up next. Same principles apply as before. It's funny enough, Eddie Hall said this in his videos, and he was like, look, some people don't think these are a good idea, and with good reason. But look, Anthony Joshua has won a lot of fights. He's a well-paid boxer. If he feels like this helps him, I would. If we were coaching him, we'd be like, I wouldn't do those. But
if Eddie Hall's making an intelligent comment on your training,
yeah,
so something's probably. One thing you could use those for, is muscular endurance. So if it's something where you get really tired holding this position for a long time, I doubt you do.
Mm-hmm.
But like, he's a fucking big guy. He has a reach of like 2.08 meters.
Right.
So he's like, his reach is like probably 6'8".
Mm-hmm.
So if he has, if his arms get tired doing this, doing some of that work might build his endurance.
Do you know what he could do then? Is just do more of that.
Yeah.
Okay, next we've just some like this just looks like conditioning work to me. I've seen nothing wrong with that, to be honest. It's a bit weird, but
it's a bit strange.
Like why don't they like doing? And maybe it's a long career, but why don't you just do some stationary bike work? Right?
Do we call that in the literature?
What?
Novel,
yeah. Go for
novel
it.
Conditioning techniques.
So we got some swimming. Nothing wrong with swimming.
No.
I think the rest of this might be just more swimming.
So this is like classical conditioning work, what you'd kind of expect.
I like this.
Having high skill movements like swimming, I'm not saying that's the best swimming stroke, but
Yeah.
getting an athlete to learn new skills
Mhm.
and use that in some way for non-specific conditioning drills or non-specific strength drills, it's very, very valuable.
Oh dear, here we have.
Oh, I have it. I saw it pop up.
Ooh, this looks like a power clean machine.
Yeah.
I think that's what the machine is entirely trying to do. I don't see. I hope maybe this is some kind of test.
So
I'm hoping it's some kind of diagnostics. Maybe it's some metrics of training, explosive training. I don't see what that's like. This is.
they used to have those in UL.
Was it for training or was it for testing?
No, they had one in the arena for training where you'd be in like a prone position.
So like this is, I assume, explosive hip action, essentially like the third pull and second pull of a power clean or a hang high pull, like you'd see a lot of people use for strength conditioning power training.
Where these machines came from is because you get less fatigue from concentrics than you do from eccentrics.
Mm-hmm.
So say if Anthony was to do like a clean high pull with this, as he lowered it down, he'd become fatigued during the eccentric, he'd have muscle tearing, which would lead to adaptation, which is a good thing, but they wouldn't want it. And then a heavy concentric. So in this, he basically drops down without load there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's only as he presses against it, he gets load. So it's purely concentric.
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't see the value in it. That
No.
piece of kit's probably £15,000.
It's just nothing to him. So we got just battle ropes.
This is like classic photo shoot stuff.
Okay.
Fucking jammer press. Go away.
Yeah. So that's weighted punches again. I definitely wouldn't be doing these. So at least with the last, say like the second last one we saw with weighted punches, he was still trying to mimic the actual movement. But this isn't. Okay.
Go with these.
I like them.
I like these.
Yeah. Side plank.
Side plank, banded, or cable distraction, or cable lateral row. Yeah, very, very nice.
He's rotating into them a bit too much.
He is rotating into them.
I leave him alone.
He's Anthony Joshua.
Yeah. Okay.
So if we go back, that slam ball work is probably what we consider slam ball work to do.
Yeah.
He might do a bout of 6 or 8 reps on that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, rest.
Mm-hmm.
Probably take 3 minutes rest until he's fully recovered. Heart rates return to normal, or heart rates return to post warm up heart rate. And that's a nice power set.
Mm-hmm.
So this is some bodybuilding.
Horizontal rows, great exercise.
Yeah.
Whole rows. Okay, so here is more of that rotational work we saw. Slam balls.
Yeah, and then this is like the fucking caveman training. Nobody's interested in it. It's not going to be valuable. This
neck work.
Neck work is valuable.
Yeah, you don't want a glass jaw, I suppose.
Well, yeah. So for concussion, one of the most interesting kind of comorbidities is that people with lower muscle density in their neck have higher rates of concussion in like field sports. I assume they do in boxing as well.
Yeah.
So you not only want a lot of muscle around the neck, but you also want a lot of lean muscle around the neck.
Mm-hmm.
So when they do DEXA scans, and then when they like break down and see the muscle fiber, you want dense muscle fiber around the neck. Also probably having larger amounts or packages of muscle around the jaw would be better for absorbing shock. So yeah, I'm not mad at that at all.
One thing with Anthony Joshua, so we're on to the second video here, it's called Anthony Joshua Training Ultimate Workout, is that he clearly has a lot of muscle mass, and he lost it earlier this year. A lot of it, he cut down a lot of weight. Like, so he clearly does a lot of directed hypertrophy training.
Yeah.
We just don't seem to see those videos anywhere. So again, we've that weighted backwards. We've got some similar stuff here in this video. We'll just skip on to stuff that we haven't seen. Okay, so here we have some hurdle jumping, and you don't know, it's very slow.
So what this is, it's a one drop jump followed by 4 or 5 very slow hurdle jumps, then a few burpees.
Into, like, the main goal, right, is so conditioning training, you can't fuck it up. Strength training, you kind of can't fuck it up. But power training,
you can fuck it up. So
yeah,
bad.
you can. But most of the time, you know.
No, I mean like the power training.
Yeah, you can fuck up power training so much, you know. So the thing with speed, right, is that it needs to be very, very specific. Like, you need to be specific. If you want to move fast, you have to train at that speed. You know, funny enough, it's kind of like strength training. So heavyweights have their own coordination and specific skill set that you need to do. So kind of, it's a similar kind of principle. You lift heavy weights to get better lifting heavy weights. With speed training, you move fast to move fast. You don't get better by there's no super compensation with speed training. You just train slow and you'll be slow. You train fast and you'll hopefully be faster.
Yeah, ideally you'd actually have facilitated resistance, whereby you run super fast or jump super high.
Yeah.
And train that central nervous system a bit better. So this is, if you had a good athlete and you were training them on hurdles like that, and the coaching was the way it should be for like direct speed or power work, that first drop jump was perfect.
Yeah.
There's no way he should be dropping into a quarter squat here. He should be just like, his ground reaction forces should be as high as possible, and his ground reaction time, so the amount of time, like, his feet are on the floor for a second and a half.
Like, if you see the last 2 hurdles as well, this is how you know you're getting into conditioning. He's having to alter the skill, so he's lifting his feet to the side to get over it. So he's just basically doing conditioning here. You can see how tired he is when he's doing his burpees at the end, or whatever.
And you shouldn't be doing burpees at the end of that.
No. Next up, we've got some sand arena training,
which is grand.
I do
agility work.
Sand work is actually quite good for a knee rehab, and so this is more okay, right?
I think if this is just conditioning, it's grand.
Yeah, jammer press, resisted band jammer press. Oh, get out!
So he's just going to be really good at resisted band jammer press after this.
He might not even be that good at them. Okay, next up we got whole rows with some holds at the top. All gravy. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with it.
No.
Pull-ups, fabulous exercise.
Yeah.
That's great. I like
That's
that.
great.
Great
favorite
exercise.
thing today.
More of this shit.
Conditioning.
He must be selling those logs or something. Whole rows. I liked a lot of whole rows.
Yeah, and this is anti-rotation work when he's single arm. Even though he's doing a bit of rotation at the end, most of that is anti-rotation, keeping his hip stable.
So here's more hand-eye coordination work. More of this. We saw this clip already. So that's good. Okay, we've got this shit again. This band again. I can skip.
Okay, more sand work. This is good.
Oh, wait 2 seconds. Sorry. I'm going to skip something useful there.
Okay, this is general mobility work. This is the monster walk we were talking about earlier, when he's shadow boxing and shit. That's grand. Like,
yeah.
That's like a weightlifter kind of moving his hands over his head. But the work there is being done by the band and that abduction of the hip.
Right, this sand arena stuff, I have no fucking clue what the idea of it is. It's probably not doing any damage, but I'd love to know.
No.
I'd love to know what they thought.
He's just resisting that movement a small bit, I would say.
I would love to know what they thought was going to happen. Like, what's this?
I'd say they thought, somebody's going to clean up that sand after us, so it's grand.
Yeah. Okay, so next up we got plyometric push-ups.
Some muscular endurance work. That's like, they're not plyometric push-ups for the sake of becoming more powerful.
Yeah.
They just make you fitter.
This is a conditioning workout.
Yeah, like, this is definitely conditioning.
Like, he's going very slow. Pull-ups again.
With speed ladders.
Yeah.
Speed ladders can be used to great effect for conditioning. In that case, you know, like, he's going to be tired as fuck after that. It won't make him any better at footwork.
No.
It won't make him any faster, but he'll be tired.
Push-ups again, or pull-ups again. Skipping, that's a great staple of boxing. All right. So this is a favorite of...
He's really angry at that tire.
No. The love of tire slam or sledgehammer swings at tires is, you know, what it is it's just a conditioning workout, but people think it's a power workout again. They think you're being really explosive, but they're probably not. You're probably just getting good at slamming a tire.
And there's one note on that.
Yeah.
Like, we're dragging power for conditioning because you should rag on power for conditioning. there's a few principles that people will look for in like metabolic conditioning workouts, so like CrossFit workouts, where they want movements that have the biggest power output. So power is the rate at which work can be done. So you pick a movement and you pick the version of that produces the most power. So the example of that would be a pull-up or a kipping pull-up. So normal strict pull-up, you're just able to do work at a certain rate. Because you're kipping, you're able to do more work at a faster rate. That's what you're seeing here is like, instead of Anthony doing like some band distracted pull downs on like a cable machine, he's then just doing a more powerful version of that flexion of the spine. And then he uses a slam ball or a sledgehammer into a tire to achieve that. So it's just a conditioning movement that allows you to do more reps more easily. But people think it's power training because they've seen people use it for power training before.
Well, they look like they're going fast. Or trying to
Yeah,
go fast.
they look like, it looks super aggressive too.
So I'm just going to skip on a little bit there. Some more neck hypertrophy work, which is
Love
great.
that.
So this
is
like the idea for this is that you build up tolerance to punches in the midsection. But I what do you think, Fitz?
I'd say the exogenous testosterone probably has more effect on its ability to bear to pain better.
Yeah.
This is, on a serious note now.
Yeah.
If you do this for your athletes, we're not friends anymore.
No.
Like, get over it. It's not the fucking 70s.
Yeah. Like, how often does he end up getting punched in the midsection?
And as well, as if it allows you to bear pain better.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Calm down, Fitz. Leave it off.
Love these evil wheels. Great.
Ab rollouts.
Yeah.
Dark boxing.
Oh, boxing in the dark. Visual occlusion training.
Yeah.
Love it.
Okay, that's it.
So thanks for watching.
If you want to see us do anything else or any other training you've seen or any other sport or any person at all, and you want our opinions or thoughts or reactions on it, just let us know. Leave it in the comments. If you're new to the channel, welcome to the channel. If you've stumbled upon this, we have a podcast, Seek Strength Podcast. All things performance, really. We cover a lot of aspects, a lot of weightlifting guests, though. A lot of other YouTube videos on our channel that you might enjoy. And if you enjoyed it, we would appreciate a comment and a like. An algorithm comment is very helpful. A lot of people don't know that. So if you leave a comment for the algorithm, it really, really helps the algorithm.
And if you want to get involved in some of the absolute shitstorm that's about to go down in the comments,
do, because that helps the algorithm as well. So if you're one of our usual people and you want to troll the new people, that's fine. There's no problem.
Perfect.
There's no problem.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching, guys.
Thanks.